All right, next up, we're going to talk about Snoop Dogg a little bit. So, Snoop Dogg is diversified his bonds. Certainly, he's in the NFT game. He's making money all over the place. Interesting bit of sound came out of Snoop Dogg recently when he talked about how, despite the fact that his music went over 1 billion streams on Spotify, he was only cut a check for about $45,000, uh, which is kind of crazy. And we recently touched on this kind of dynamic when we talked about Terrence Howard a few pods back. Terrence Howard was paid like $20,000 to be the lead actor in Hustle and Flow, despite the fact that the movie made like 25, $30 million, and it only cost like however much it cost to be made, a fraction of that, a mere fraction of that.
Mhm.
So Snoop Dogg talked about what happened with his payout with Spotify, and it caught a lot of people's attention. So this article from Afrotech says Snoop Dogg claims he received a payout of less than $45,000 after earning 1 billion streams on Spotify. Snoop Dogg has revealed how he was able to win big with non fungible tokens alongside his son after the low payout he received from streaming on Spotify. During an interview with the Business Untitled podcast, Snoop Dogg explains his initial hesitation with learning about the world of NFTs, especially when he was seeing many creators profiting off of his likeness. His son Cordell Brodus helped to shift his mindset, though, which proved to be beneficial. As Afrotech previously mentioned, Snoop Dogg, who became the owner of Death Row Records in February 2022, profited $40 million by removing the label's music from streaming platforms and making it only available in the metaverse. So we'll skip down here a little bit. The Death Row Records owner also explained how he assisted artists in the NFT space in achieving substantial gains, surpassing earnings from platforms such as Apple and Spotify by drawing from his own experience with the platform. He claimed that he received a check that was less than $45,000 after reaching 1 billion streams on Spotify. So we'll go and play this sound a little bit and then we'll talk about that.
Well, let me tell you the thing that worked with me. It was simple. It was transparency. That's what the music industry and the film industry doesn't have.
Mhm.
So this was a way to show transparency. Give me a song. Give me a song. Give me a song. I'm taking 60% because I'm putting it out for you. You getting 40%. That may sound like a lot, but you just made $100,000. So in the streaming world, I can show you right now. They just sent me some shit from Spotify where I got 1 billion streams, right? My publisher hit me. I said, break that down. How much money is that? That shit wasn't even $45,000.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
That is fucking crazy.
You see what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
like,
All right. So interesting to hear something like that. It kind of enlightens us on the continuing conversation around the financial viability of the music industry and where that currently stands, particularly from for artists who don't diversify themselves and are pretty much relying on music to make money. So, what were your thoughts on Snoop Dogg talking about that? 1 billion streams on Spotify and the check wasn't even $45,000.
Well, I think it's a racket, and I'm glad that somebody like Snoop Dogg, somebody with his catalog, his amount of streams over 1 billion. That's nothing to laugh at. All right, that is a lot of plays, and for that to not even equal $45,000, like I don't even know the short math on that. All right, but it's literally laughable. So whenever they constructed these streaming quotas, like whatever stream equals an album sale, whatever stream equals or whatever, like I was like, where y'all coming up with these numbers from? It sounds like these guys, these streaming services, got at some board meeting and really crunched some numbers, some algorithm AI type stuff, before everybody's gotten accustomed to that, but they really ran the numbers and was like, what's the best way we can screw all of these artists with them getting more plays than they would if somebody actually bought a CD from this person? There's some songs, bro, I ain't even gonna lie, with the access, with the you know, with all of these apps where you can just listen to music and all this other stuff. Like sometimes, bro, if I find a song I like, I'm playing that thing all the
Mhm.
time. And honestly, bro, if I listen to it more than 12 times, and there's 12 songs on that album, you know, that should be considered a purchase of the album, you know, or whatever. Like I'd be listening to that. Like I forgot bro name. I had that in my YouTube music rap for the year. Uh I forgot bro name. I'll pull it up on the next segment. But it's a Spanish dude. I don't know what he's saying. But all of his songs are fire. He was the top artist I listened to this year. I was like, oh snap! I didn't even know I was listening to bruh stuff. Hopefully, I contributed to like 4 or 5 album sales with all of those spins that I was doing. But most likely, it probably didn't even equate to one. I think it was something crazy, bro. I was like in the top 1% of people who listen to this guy. Out of all the people who listen to it, I was like in the top 1% who listen to him like the most. I was like, damn, and I don't even know what the hell he's saying. But he's got bars. So anyway, but that guy should be getting paid for all of those streams that I was doing, but most likely he will not. So for Snoop Doggy Dogg, the man that everybody knows, whether it's grandpa, all right, or some Gen Z iPad baby, they know who Snoop Doggy Dogg is. They could probably name 2 or 3 songs. And this is for the layman. So you don't get any bigger, honestly, than a Snoop Doggy Dogg. And so for him to have 1 billion streams and for that to not equal 45K, it speaks to the racket that these streaming services has created for these artists. And I think the streaming service was honestly the nail in the coffin, because they've been screwing artists forever. But I think this was their nail in the coffin to forever, you know, F over any artist that's coming out with anything. And so it's actually kind of sad. I was hoping that, you know, Snoop was actually you know, ahead of this and getting more cash. I was hoping these billion stream people were actually making money, but actually they're not. It's an absolute travesty for the amount of blood, sweat, and tears that some of these people have put into their work for them not to be getting paid anything. So those are initial thoughts. What about you, bro? What are your thoughts on Snoop Doggy Dogg, the industry? 1 billion streams, less than 45K.
Yeah, if 1 billion streams gets you less than 45,000, then what does 1 million streams get you? That's crazy. Shouts out my boy Ahmad. He's one of my buddies that I holler at. We rap in the gym all the time. He has a history with making music. He's not a musician per se, but he dabbled in music when he was younger. He used to live in New York. Now he lives down here. And he explained to me why, because you know he understands this stuff. So he was explaining to me why it is that artists, when they release albums out now, why the songs are only like 2 minutes long, why the albums are only like 10, 11 songs. I was always thinking that, you know, these artists were making the music that way because they just got lazier. But he was telling me, no, it has something specifically to do with how streaming metrics works.
Yeah.
And he was like, so it was like for every certain amount of seconds or something like that, it equals like a penny or something. So it's like the idea behind a 2-minute song with no, you know, like you get one hook, 2 verses, the song is over, all of the stuff that I'll be complaining about with how songs are made now. Like they're doing it because the idea is they're anticipating people's low attention spans combined with how the metrics behind streaming works. So if one song goes beyond 3 minutes, the likelihood that someone is going to leave that song faster, thus you're making less pennies on that song, increases. Hence the reason why the music is made the way it is now, where every song is like 2 to 3 minutes long and every album is like maybe 11 or 12 songs and you're done. The only time you see the traditional model nowadays is if it's older artists who come from a previous era who made their money, and so they don't care what money they make from streaming. Because like you know, Nick, like I said, the earlier segment that we did with Nicki Minaj, the Pink Friday, there's like 19 songs on that thing.
Right.
That does not happen anymore. That's a rare thing, but she's kind of an OG at this point, if you really want to think about it, because she came out in the late 2000s. So those are the only people who are doing it kind of the older way that from previous generations. Nowadays, the music is neutered and watered down and shorter and less good from a quality standpoint, literally because the artists are trying to adhere to the the metrics in the algorithm and the algorithms that go into being profitable when it comes to streaming. And so I'm not surprised to hear that because it is a racket and these people aren't making money. But it takes me back to my central point that I touched on with the Terrence Howard topic that we did. And it's why it's important to not be beholden to the slavery system, because now you're no longer a modern day slave just by working a 9 to 5 or earning minimum wage or working at a department store or a fast food place. Now you're a modern day slave even if you're a musical artist, because you're beholden to streaming metrics. And so the only way that you can combat that is if you have something that is yours that you can own and monetize and create passive income for yourself. So I hear where Ti is coming from, where Ti is trying to be a comedian. Because if Ti, for real, like if Ti is a comedian, and I don't know if Ti's motivation behind becoming a comedian has to do with how much more difficult it has become to, you know, be profitable and flourish when it comes to music, you know, strictly. But at the end of the day, him being a comedian is something that he can control and own himself in terms of his likeness and his act as a comedian. You know, booking shows, going on comedy tours, the venues book you. People still have to come out in person to go to a comedy show. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I get it. I get why these people are doing this. I get why Snoop Dogg is doing NFTs, because it's no longer a long lasting, sustainable prospect to be profitable in the music industry, or at least by all accounts, that's what it looks like. You know, unless you're Drake or Taylor Swift, it looks like people ain't really making money off of the music that they actually release.
Right.
It looks like you have to release the music and then go and do shows.
Yes.
And if that's not what you're doing, you're not making any money.
Correct.
So you have to own stuff. So you know you own more of your ability. You own more of your own bird rights, so to speak, when it comes to making money when you're doing shows. And obviously, if you diversify your portfolio and you're getting into other industries that you can control, you own the patent to this, you own the right to this, you own the likeness to this. Hey man, then you won't be Terrence Howard getting paid $20,000 to be the lead actor in a movie, despite the fact that it made a profit of like 25-30 million dollars. Or you can pass 1 billion streams on Spotify, and you don't have to worry about the fact that you're only going to get cut a $45,000 check. This modern day slavery stuff is real out here, and it's got everybody in its crosshairs. You know, it ain't just people working office jobs. It ain't just people doing 9 to 5. It ain't just people working in cubicles. It isn't just account executives and marketing coordinators and event planners. It ain't just people who work at Walmart. It ain't just people who are cashiers, the few cashier jobs that are left. It ain't just people who work in department stores. It ain't just people who work in fast food joints. Like everybody out here, unless you own your own situation, is a modern day slave in this slavery system, you know, including these rappers. So, you know, it's crazy to hear Snoop Dogg illuminate and give actual numbers to the dynamic when he
Right.
points out 5 grand off of 1 billion streams, because that is a huge disparity.
Yeah.
A bill with a B, and my check is only 45 grand. I make more of that as a 9 to 5 person.
Boy, that's crazy.
What are we doing? Yeah, it's wild. So hey, man, people got to get out of the slavery system. Get out of the slavery. We talk about that on this channel all the time. I call it modern day slavery. People get triggered by that word, but it is what it is. No one is compensated in a manner that is commensurate with the work that they put in. That does not go on anymore. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. It doesn't matter what lane you're in. I said before, if you are an engineer and you make $120,000 a year, you're still underpaid, because in all likelihood, your talent and your expertise and your level of productivity when it comes to whatever you do in the engineering space exceeds whatever your salary is, even if it's six figures.
Yep.
But this capitalistic slavery system is set up to jerk people on what they can get. So you have to have something that's yours. I'm not trying to, because I earn a paycheck. So I'm not up here being high and mighty, acting like I'm not a part of this. I work for a living, I earn a paycheck, but I'm also trying to build something that belongs to me. And I think that that's what people need to look at doing. And you speak to that all the time. Because if you don't look at that, you're going to be staring down the barrel of situations like this, and you're going to be victimized by it. And most people are victimized by it, including these artists. So it's real crazy.
Yeah, man. And real quick before I forget, this bro right here, man. Mikel El Buenon. El Buenon. Bro goes dumb, bro. So hey, just do yourself a favor and just randomly look for one of his songs. Bro go crazy, man. He got flows too, man. For man, I don't even know what he's saying. Yeah, man, I love that stuff. But well, one last thing. Agree with everything you said, bro. I just saw an interview. I don't know if you know Money Man. Money Man, he's pretty good, man. Chill dude. And so he was talking about how these labels and how they do things, man. If they give you a meal, bro, I thought you just had to pay that back. But you got to pay that back plus interest. So yeah, bro. So that $1 million deal, you know, you got to pay them back like 6. You know. 5 mil if you want to get out of it. So when we were growing up, man, we always heard that, oh man, they put me on the shelf. They're not letting me come out with no music. I got a 5-album deal, but they won't put my stuff out. And the reason being is you're not returning on their investment. And that was in the old racket game that they're doing now. And they're still doing that. And so now what they do with these artists is not only do they give them an advance, they sign these 360 deals where they're actually taking money from their shows. So the only way that artists can actually make money is from their shows and merch.
Yeah.
And now part of these 360 deals is they're taking the show and the merch money. So these guys who sign these stupid deals, these new people who are still signing these deals, like why sign? I'll tell you why sign. Much like in our first conversation where we were talking about Nicki Minaj and these industry plants, you can come out with as much underground music as you want. Just be happy with that underground money. So do play those circuits, do your thing, work hard, collect all that money. Never want to go big time. But those people who go big time, all right, those people are in debt, if you will. Those people are in debt for as long as, you know, as far as the eye can see. So then that person has a choice to make. Do I want to be an industry cash cow? Or do I want to be independent and, you know, make my own money, do my own show money? Most people, or the people that do choose, I don't want to say most people, the people that do choose to sign with these labels, to sign themselves over, if you will, you know, those are the people that we see in our thing. Those are the people that can actually reach 1 billion streams. And even then, they're getting paid less than 45K. And even then, you say, oh, well, to make their money off shows. If they sign one of those stupid deals, them labels is taking a large percentage of their show money and their merch money. It is absolutely ridiculous. So what has happened with the streaming game and everything, they already had the game on lock with regular stuff. And then when they introduce streaming, it's on double, quadruple, padlock. Boy, you need a damn, what you call that? A flame, you know, a welding thing like flame, like you got to melt the iron and stuff on the damn deadbolt. So they got this thing, you know, all the way through. And so that's why for somebody like Snoop Dogg, who's been in the industry for 30 plus years, for him to still be getting screwed over. And that's why him in this whole little interview, he was trying to find ways to circumvent this. So he himself or other artists can actually get money that's commensurate to whatever the effort that they're putting in. But hey, man, sign yourself over to these labels if you want. You'll be paying that debt off for the rest of your life. So super sad stuff, man. But hey, man, you know, never shake the devil's hand. That's what I always say, man.
Yeah, people need to just one, like I think that I think technology has wrought more unintended consequences upon society than benefits. Personally, that's my personal opinion. Um, so I'm not one of these people who thinks all of technology is great. There are certain things that I love. Give me Apple Pay any day of the week. I love Apple Pay. I don't even need a debit card anymore. Apple Pay has made my life so convenient. So there are certain things that have made my life better that I don't think has just ruined society and the world. But streaming is one of those things where you have to kind of take a look at the unintended consequences. And it's made the consumption of music more convenient for people, but look at some of the detrimental effects that it's had otherwise. And I kind of feel like this is just the start of how these sorts of microeconomies are going to affect other areas of human existence that we can't even foresee, because it's just years down the line in the future. We have no idea what that's going to look like. And that's why I take a stand on certain things. And I think people are letting themselves down with stuff like this. Like, we can talk all day about how the artist is getting screwed, but if we really cared that much, then maybe we would be a little more principled and do things like go to the store and buy a CD instead of doing streaming. Like, there are, but listen to what I'm saying though. My point, because I know that that's not realistic. I wouldn't even do that. But my point is, for the things that we claim to care about, sacrifices have to be made, and people need to take stands on certain things. You know what I'm saying? So whatever it is that we claim to care about, stands have to be taken on stuff. Of course, no one's going to go to Target and Walmart and start buying physical CDs again, because I'm not going to buy a CD player. I don't even know if they make those damn things anymore.
Oh, they really don't.
I don't even think they put CD players in cars anymore.
They don't.
Because everything is just auxiliary and USB and Bluetooth. But stands need to be taken. And it's like, if y'all want to really see these people thrive and you care about it, like, put your money where your mouth is. Like, uptick those streaming, uptick those streams. I don't know. Things just need to happen, because this stuff out here is interesting to watch how this thing is playing out. But 1 billion streams, and that only gets you $45,000 or less than that. That disparity to me is frightening. And I could only imagine. See, the people at the top, they ain't gonna feel this, but that's not the majority of the artists. The majority of it's like the NBA. Like, whenever they negotiate a new CBA or the contracts start getting inflated, and these guys are getting supermax deals, $300 million. Like, Austin Rivers talked about this. That affects the mid-level player the most, because teams are either giving out minimum contracts or super maxes.
Correct.
So if you're one of those players and you're trying to get a 5-year, $70 million deal, that mid, because there's this, stark contrast between the minimum and the super max, and teams are only trying to sign superstars, you're exiting out the mid-level player, and you're forcing the mid-level player to have to take smaller deals because teams don't want to give out the mid anymore. And that's what's going on in the regular economy. It's either you got it and you can afford to withstand this stuff, or you're down here and you're just going to die off because you can't evolve with it. And like, you just got to be able to evolve with it, figure out what your market is, whatever you're good at, and try to capitalize on one of these emerging technologies, because the opportunities are out there. You just kind of have to seek them out. But this stuff is happening out here, man. And it's crazy. I'm not the biggest fan of rap and hip hop, not the way I used to be, but I still don't think that a person who works hard and who puts in the work and creates something that's capable of being streamed 1 billion times should only be paid $45,000 worth that. That to me is insanity.
That's a joke, bro.
Yeah, that's absolute insanity. So shouts out to Snoop. I think everyday people on the streets in our positions can help some of this stuff. Use social media as a platform, demand that these labels stop putting these artists over their knee and spanking them to death, making them bend the knee to these ridiculous demands. Stream the music as much as possible, support the shows, buy the tickets, because they are getting abused out here in these streets. And that is a fact.
Yeah, hey, shout out to Miguel El Buenon. You know what I'm saying? Keep rocking out, bruh. I'm giving you 1 billion streams myself, dog. You know what I'm saying? And diversify y'all music out there, man. I know I ain't the only person that listen to salsa music on the chill. So yeah, man, diversify y'all music out there, man, and support real artists.
Yeah. I definitely was in the top 1% for Aaron Talos. I don't know nobody else who listens to Aaron Talos. He's a UK guy, singer songwriter. But I love his stuff. He's dope. So yeah, I definitely hear that too.
Oh, real quick, hit the like and subscribe, guys. While y'all at
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
Sure.